everybody is an artist in my opinion, in some way. How you express those form of arts or whatever takes
Mhm.
time or it takes purpose or it takes like passion.
Welcome to the Commonwealth. Lively and informative conversations with change makers and thought leaders, from grassroots leaders to policymakers, about what's actually working to build fair, thriving urban communities in Detroit and beyond. I'm your host, Dana Thompson. On today's episode, we're chatting with a Detroit based artist about the ways individual voices and experiences can lift up our communities. My guest is Jason Ford, also known as Squeeze. Jason is a Detroit based writer, poet, actor, performer, and producer. His work connects art and activism through various mediums, including a recent exhibition at the Andy Arts Center. Jason, welcome to the Commonwealth.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great for having me. I'm glad to be here.
First off, how did you get the nickname Squeeze?
That's a question people ask all the time. But it's just a childhood nickname.
Okay.
When I was in high school, one of my friends or one of the older kids, he was like, he's an upperclassman, and I was a
Mhm.
freshman, I believe. And
Okay.
he looked at me, he said, "We've been calling you Jason your whole life. You don't look like your name's supposed to be Jason." And I'm like, "What?" Like, J Squeeze, you know? And I'm like, "No, that's terrible." I said they forced people to say it,
Oh my
and after a
goodness.
while, it was just like that was the name people called me. Till to this day, even sometimes my mom, she calls me Squeeze sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just know a little bit more background for our listeners about your work
Mhm.
and career in the arts leading up to now.
I'm a writer, but also like an appreciator, collector of arts because I understand as a human, we all have like this thing inside of us, this story or this connection, reflection that we're trying to make sure we're expressing ourselves.
Mhm.
And for me, writing is one of the best ways to do that. You know, it's like the best way to connect with people, people that write songs or you
Mhm.
can create something that people get opportunity to connect with.
My father was actually a writer. He was a songwriter for Motown Records back in the late '60s. He wrote "My Whole World Ended."
Mm.
Yeah, with David Ruffin.
Can you sing it? Do you know?
No, I'm not going to sing "My Whole World Ended." I'd like to talk a little bit about the arts and community development. And I'd like to hear from you, what are aspects of your community and life experiences that drove your passion for community development through the arts?
Um, for me, I grew up in a very um, versatile and challenged environment.
Mm,
In Saginaw, Michigan is
okay.
actually where I was born and raised.
Okay.
You've seen a lot of people who were tied through generations, mothers, grandmothers, fathers, grandfathers, who had family around them and was able to build community. But then you've seen so many challenges with like violence and like gang violence and things like that,
Mhm.
where a lot of these people didn't get an opportunity to grow up,
Mhm.
and me always being like a very observative person, always
Mhm.
been um wanting to learn and then also wanting to teach and wanting to lead and wanting to bring people along with me all the time.
Mhm.
So it's been something that's I guess in me since I was a child in that way.
Okay.
Outside of that, understanding that the community is what we are at this point. We build
Mm.
this society, we exist within it. For it to function in any way, we have to have a sense of community to be able to do that.
Why are the arts important?
It's a few reasons. You can sing a song or give someone an inspiring story, a movie script or something like that, and it's gonna move people, it's gonna motivate people, it's gonna inspire people, it's gonna activate people to get out there and do. But beyond that, it's like we're very complex, as humans, as people, we're very complex. So we have to be able to express until that story that we're dealing with, or the things that we go through, or the experiences that we're having. We have to be able to put it out there, and the arts help us to do that.
So, can you tell me a little bit more about the types of projects that you're typically involved in?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times I'm always working with how things are gonna, like how people are gonna respond to things,
Mhm.
especially when thinking about public exhibitions or just events or shows. Even going back to like Sub America, that was what the experience was to be. Like
Mhm.
wanting you to be able to sit down and kind of be submerged into this experience,
Mhm.
and then go on this journey to see, what's the story to be told.
Yeah.
Because as a poet, you can do one poem, you have 3 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever amount of time, to be able to tell that story. But then when you do shows or productions or working with people where you're collaborating between different types of art, like dance,
Mhm.
fine arts, and all those things, you be able to put those things on the same stage or to be able to tell the same story, then your range, broadens.
So you mentioned Sub America, and I'd like to talk about that exhibition a little bit more and how it came to be.
It came as a second within a series. So Sub America, The Dream is a second of the initial, which was The Sub American Dream,
Oh.
which is a book now. Well, the text of it is a
Mhm.
book.
Mhm.
And it's really the opportunity to tell that story and, create like a storyline that people can be engaged in
Right.
through spoken word, through dance, through song. So we had live band, but it was all like tied in with the lights and the elements within the space to be able to tell the story of like the disenfranchised American citizen.
Well, I wanted to read a portion of the poetry from the book
Okay.
and just ask you about your inspiration for these words.
Absolutely.
We the people, what people? Us people still stand divided and unequal, and not only black and white, but kings and pawns kill pawns for kings, with no seen communication. It's supposed to be we, the nation?
Mhm. Yeah. So the way the poem is written is like a call to action.
Okay.
Creating like spoken word, understanding that there's layers into like the work or like the cake that you're baking. So you have the words, then you have the energy of the words, and then you have like how you express those words and understanding that this is a call to action. So it's like we the people, I want to like wake people up, and then what people, and then kind of put something obvious in people's faces, but
Mhm.
in a way make sure that they understand that there's so much to be done. You get kind of stuck in the same battles, and
Mhm.
keep fighting those same battles while understanding that we're growing, we're evolving. We have to make sure that we acknowledge that.
And who's the audience?
The audience is the people who like refuse to see what could be going on around them.
Mhm.
It's like the truth is like with a lot of things you have to have buy-in. You buy into something, then you can sell it to somebody else.
Mhm. Mhm.
And at certain points you buy into something without even acknowledging the fact that you had bought it in the
Mhm.
first place.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it's like this is the point where you have to acknowledge it, where we're forcing you to acknowledge it. And from that point, you
Mhm.
get the opportunity to do what you want. You get the opportunity to look in the mirror and face that reflection as your journey chooses for you. But
Right.
the truth is, like, you have to acknowledge it. We're going to force you to acknowledge it. People are reflections of each other, as like, as our society grows, like, as we become who we are today, that's the the product of stories being told and things being passed down and things like those. That is who we are. It's a process that's very in need of respect. The fact
Mhm.
that those stories, those connections, those conversations between generations or just people that are having similar experiences, is what made us into what we are today. The fact is that we all have certain experiences or situations that other people experience, you know? And sometimes it's hard to have those conversations or hard to reach out and say, okay, I'm going through this, you know, I'm having this experience. Being able to express those things in a way where people are free to have those conversations or free to open up about those things puts you in a position where the community is growing and bonding together.
It's really interesting to think about how some people may not feel comfortable having the conversation with the other person about their experience. But if they're able to engage with that person's experience through an exhibition,
Mhm.
maybe they feel more comfortable in that medium,
Yeah.
being able to engage with their story.
Yeah. And the truth is, like, say, like, we are on the tablet or whatever all day, you know, like,
Yes.
we become a person siloed within our perspective and opinion about
Yeah.
something that we get through something telecasted or whatever. We are meant to be connection, like that
Yes.
human or interaction between people is so vital for our mental health.
Yes.
So it's like we have to be able to have priority
Mhm.
for that connection with other people and then understand that when we silo ourselves in our emotions and the things that we're experiencing, it, you know, it's just not good for us.
Yeah.
And if you can be, I would say, courageous enough to create an opportunity for somebody to get in there and to have their expression or be able to do their reflection or be able to start their conversation, then you're doing like a tremendous task. And I encourage you.
What is Andy Arts?
And so Indie Arts is a cultural and community arts center or space,
Okay.
I would say. It's ran by two phenomenal, I would say, artists as well, but
Mhm.
business people, community members, and leaders and activists.
Mhm.
And then also activists for the artist community as well. Josh and Laura, who I've met through working with them for other things, bringing community events, for spoken word events, open
Mhm.
mics,
Okay.
where we were able to really grow the artist community, grow the poet community in this space. So it was really
Mhm.
good. They're extremely passionate about their impact on the community, their lives. They're like very passionate about it.
Okay.
So even the building, the space itself, Andy Arts,
Mhm.
is named after a steward of the community. So Andy is a steward of the community that's been in that community for a very long time. Older African American male who's been taking care of that community, cleaning up the community, tending to the community much before a lot of the development was going on or coming into that area.
Mhm.
So as they came into the area, they made a connection with wanting to make sure the community was clean, being built properly, establishing, networks and community-based conversations and stuff like that. So they ended up naming that building after him, the Andy Art Studio.
I know you've been in Detroit for around a decade
Yeah,
and
almost.
almost a decade. What is it about Detroit that has given you inspiration as an artist?
Detroit has a very rich history, like a very, very rich culture for artistry, you know?
Mhm.
It goes very, very deep, you know?
Mhm.
And it ties to a lot of the other things that are going on in the city of Detroit as well. A lot of the growth, a lot of the people and companies that are coming into the city because it's a lot of artists who have to work to tell those stories now, who have to work on those marketing teams or have to write those billboards and stuff. Like there's artists that are doing that, you know? So the truth is like we're in a time where the artist is actually really needed. Everybody is an artist in my opinion, in some way, you know?
Really?
And it's like you express those how you express those form of arts or whatever takes
Mhm.
time or it takes purpose or it takes like passion, you know. But in a way, I feel like everybody is an artist, you know?
Yeah, that's really powerful. Because growing up, I felt like, um, artists are those people like my father who wrote songs and, he could read music, or my mother who sang in the opera. And so I kind of thought of myself as, oh, I just work hard and I go to school and,
Yeah.
became a lawyer. But to see that, you have creativity, everybody has creativity in them
Yeah.
that needs to be cultivated. That's very powerful,
Yes, it
very
is.
powerful. Can you talk to me just about the exhibition and what you have seen as lasting impact of the exhibition on the community?
So Sub America the Dream for a lot of different reasons. Like I said, I took it to Andy Arts, just because I knew I had the space and resources to be able to bring such a production to the people.
Mhm.
I know I wanted to do something that was going to inspire and motivate artists. Like like I said earlier, being in the city with so many artists, so many people that so many talented people, so many people that are working,
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure that I was putting them in a position to be inspired, you know?
Okay.
So with the show, it took a lot of moving parts. Had to hire people and organize plans and make sure that all the pieces were moving
Mhm.
because a lot of the show I was going to be the experience, I was gonna be in front of an audience, like,
Mm.
I was gonna be there, so I couldn't be in the back calling the shots or saying what was gonna do or telling people, "Oh, move the camera here," or "Turn the lights up here," and all that stuff. The biggest thing is, like, I wanted to make sure that I was inspiring the artists that came after or all the artists that are there, showing artists that this is with a level of commitment things that you can do and you don't have to just do mom and pop shows or just do open mics or whatever. You can put time,
Mhm.
dedicate your attention and be able to produce something that tells a story.
Mhm.
And the other thing is like the reflection. You want people to be able to have to look at themselves.
Mm.
And it did that for a lot of people. I heard a lot of questions and comments from people talking about how they felt it changed their perspective on the things that they were going through, or when they were planning or facing something that they had to, like a huge task, that they had more understanding of themselves so they can make sure that they were, on the path to get it accomplished.
Is there a particular reflection or, particular instances from people that shared their reflection with you that stands out?
I wouldn't say particular, but I know that right around the time where that show was being produced and leading up to it, I went through a circumstance where I was having what they call epileptic episodes.
Mm.
It was having me in situations where I was having short term memory loss and all types of things.
Okay.
So for this, it's a long script. It's a long conversation.
Mm.
So now I'm like trying to make sure I'm having that connection with people, but at the same time trying to remember all the things that I'm supposed to speak on.
Right.
And in that, like choosing like transparency and then understanding like through all of this is the experience that I am going through. As a human being, as a person that's up here having this conversation with you, I'm still having my own personal experience.
Mm.
And me being able to do that, I've had conversations where people opened up and say, like, you being transparent in that way helped me to be transparent or help me to be able to open up or help me to be able to face something that I was too nervous or afraid to face.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's really powerful. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
This was a really rich and powerful conversation.
I'm glad.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you.